All right, welcome everybody to the Thursday night show. Uh, we had one sneak in backstage very quickly. I'm not going
That guy.
to say who it was.
I'm doing the same thing. So, but you're almost done. I think I'm like halfway. So,
It's like when the video was playing, I was like, okay, I see Stan. I'll sneak him in real quick before the curtains open. Stan, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all, to be honest. Looking forward to tomorrow because it's Friday, and that means we have. So I'm just looking at a person in the. There's someone in the chat there I've not seen for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's the weekend, so I'm looking forward to having the weekend off.
That's Brownie, hopefully, and welcome home, Brownie. Hopefully, everything is good with you. I am gonna say though, Brownie, take the night off, chill out, relax, stay with us in the chat box. Macronial's here as well. The Macronial. I'll get that right, Gary. I'll get that right one of these.
Macronical.
The Macronical. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gary, how are you? Back from Barbados?
Good. Yeah, I'm back to the land of the working.
Barbados?
Yes.
You giving it large? I see, obviously, your checks from Ray have obviously been clearing.
I don't know what you're talking about because, no, Ray has nothing to do with this.
That's not a thing. Exactly.
You know what? You actually got a check.
Yeah, but it doesn't clear. Never clears.
I got an envelope with it just had in the window, it had my address. I thought it was a check. It wasn't. It was just an envelope. Nothing in it.
We do this because we love it. There's no checks. There's no brown envelopes. We do this because we love it. We're the pure Arsenal fan base right here. Tampa Bay kicker just hit the worst field goal try in modern history. I guess it didn't go over then, right? Hi, everyone working right now. So, Stephen, we'll just listen in tonight. Thanks for being here. Arsenal Misfit, big up for the support nonetheless, always. Yep, definitely. So, yeah, Brownie, hope you're doing well. Hope you're recuperating. I'm going to practice it, the Macronical. Got it on the third attempt. It's an ode to macroeconomics, my actual day job, although no one can seemingly tell now. Big up to everybody in the chat box. Big up to Stan. Big up to Gary.
I'm actually a little bit pissed off that Brownie is actually home because, as you know, we were working on our song to get him home, and we're never going to be able to finish the song now. So it was good. We had a lot of stuff going on. But Ray was on bass, Gary was on drums, Tony Turner was on lead vocals. So it was interesting.
It's probably going to take at least another 3 to 4 years because I have to learn how to play that instrument.
Yeah.
What's my dog doing?
But listen, we were thinking about you, Brownie, and we're glad you're home.
Yeah, glad to have you home, mate. Glad to have you home.
Definitely.
Yep.
Definitely. Hopefully you can put that behind you, that experience, and move forward.
No, mate. Write a book, make some money. book gets taken up as a screenplay. I play the lead. There you go. All works out.
Stan. Okay, Stan, tell me about Champions League week 3.
Yeah, good. For me, it was one of them ones where I was working, and obviously it was a lunchtime kickoff for me here, 12 o'clock. So I was in the busy middle of my work day. So I just switched my phone off, didn't look at my phone for the day, came home and watched it on replay. So it was like watching it fresh, and very good. I mean, Sevilla can be a bit of a rough place to go. They're they're a very noisy crowd, aren't they?
Yeah,
very, very noisy crowd. Can be a little bit intimidating. We've got a lot of players that are quite young and they're very new to the Champions League, going off to playing Europe experience. So, but when you look at the actual result and how we managed to get the result, I thought it was a very good display. There are a couple of points that I'm sure that when we go into it, which we can talk about, which, a couple of players perhaps that are still not looking up to their usual level of expectation that we see from them. But on the whole, I mean, so far we seem to be traversing our Champions League fairly well. The result against Lens notwithstanding.
notwithstanding, got that one early. Listen, we're taking control of this group now with this win. Sevilla away from home was really going to be a tough one for us. They have a fantastic record in the European competition playing at home, and it's not easy to win away from home. Listen, if anyone tells you it's easy to win away from home in intimidating stadiums, they're having one. You know what I mean? But like you said, Stan, we had the experience in Gabriel Jesus showing up. We had the youthful exuberance of Martinelli showing up, and sprinkle that with a player or two of high quality, such as Declan Rice, who's been there, done that in the Premier League, and this experience in this level of European competition for the first time. Tomiyasu,
he has won a cup in Europe as well. Not necessarily the biggest one, but he's had experience going through group stages, going through the knockout phases, and then navigating through a semi-final and a final. So it's welcome experience for me, because we do have, and I'm going to touch on this in a little bit more detail later, we do have a number of inexperienced, or I should say, young players on the team. We
can go through that a little bit later, go through the team, and especially if we feel that we're going to qualify for the through the group and into spring, where the real competition will start in this Champions League. Let's get a few comments in here. Alonso was going to join, but I'll never get a word in. You got to fight for your right, Alonso. Fight for your right. Elbows, Stan.
Get those elbows out, mate.
Get Gary out of the way. Get Stan. I don't know what I'm doing with my elbows. You can do it, Alonso. You can do it. I remember telling Arsenal fans about Declan Rice on this very channel, and you lot were saying that he wasn't good enough for Arsenal. Well, look, I, for one, wanted Declan Rice for years. I never thought that we could get him. I thought our star was not high enough in the sky that we could grab a Declan Rice.
Listen, I bet none of us said that. Brandon's just going onto every channel and just saying that to everyone, right?
Yeah. But we were not in a position a few years ago to get a Declan Rice. We always thought it was going to be Chelsea who were getting the big boys.
I don't remember really having many conversations about him, to be fair, on this broadcast. I don't really remember
just through the summer.
And I think that if we did, I've always been one that I didn't really watch a lot of him. I only see West Ham when we play them, if that makes any sense, and maybe the odd highlights match of the day.
And to be honest, for years, Stan, for seasons, it was always going to be Chelsea, bring him back home. But Chelsea's light faded last season, and Arsenal have come to prominence. And we definitely worked the back channels for Declan Rice. Arteta did the groundwork. The club did the groundwork. We convinced Declan Rice by the quality of our performances, the quality of our team growing. And I think Declan Rice could look at our team and say, yeah, I can play in that position and I can do well. And I can be a key factor in the team, and he's taken on the challenge of Manchester City, Stan.
Yeah, and he's not come in and he's playing exactly the same as exactly the same as he was at West Ham. We play a different way, and he's had to learn how Mikel Arteta wants him to play his role. And he's a very different player to Thomas Partey. They may sort of occupy the same kind of position on a team sheet, but they are, I think, very different players. How they play the game.
They are very different, and I think they will complement each other when they do play together. But that's probably more up to Thomas Partey than Declan Rice in terms of the best kind of ability, which is availability, and Thomas can't do it. You know what I mean?
I was laughing at Brownie. Hang on, Brownie, put your feet up. Look, he's only just home, and he's already ringing up Sam Greenwood and berating him to accept that he was wrong about Rice. As if nothing's happened, as if Brownie's always been here. Put your feet up, man. Have a fucking drink. Just chill out.
Have a cup of tea. Get a brew together. You know what I mean? Sevilla and Lons brought real European atmosphere.
I'm surprised Brownie didn't go live and just start doing a stream as soon as you walked out the shovel, personally. Do you know what I mean? Just back into business.
Yeah. Well, look, it is great. It is great to be bantering with him again. You know
I
what I
missed
mean?
I missed the bantering
Yeah.
with Barney, man.
Yeah.
Good to have him back,
Declan
though.
Rice.
Oh, seriously, mate. I'm really pleased that you're home, mate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The McChronicle said Declan Rice literally just captained West Ham to a European title right before joining Arsenal. Gary, we're kind of lucky. Listen, it was me that was talking about Rice all summer. I know you and Stan were going more on the Caicedo side of it, so I'm going to hold that to you and both of you. But Declan Rice, how good has he been in these first 10, 12 games for us? You're on.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot my headphones has this feature. If I put down, not mute.
A man who does podcasts on 5 different continents should not fall foul of that rookie
Very true.
mistake.
Yeah, no, I think no. I mean, I'm like I said, if I had my choice, I would go with Caicedo. Rice was a more sound choice. There was less. How would you say it? Potential that you could realize. There's probably more potential in Caicedo that we haven't even seen yet because he's much younger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the things we thought we were looking at, but we also definitely needed stability and availability, and I think Rice gives that to us. So I mean, you bring him in, and you're like we bringing in a leader, right? A captain, a future captain of England. How it work out, and for me, he's, you ever seen those like a player comes into a team and immediately they just give him the captaincy right there because they just it's too easy. It's right in your face. I mean, it's the easiest test you're gonna pass. Does the man have what you need? Yes. Is he available? Yes. Has he won you games? Yes. Like and he's more supposed to be a defender. So like he makes it. I'm glad we got him. Like I said, I think Caicedo would have worked for us as well. We would have just had more athleticism probably, and a little bit of unknown. He brings us a lot. So I'm like I said, I could have gone either way. I wanted Caicedo because of the youth. I thought we were a youth movement, but and I thought Partey would be able to showcase his skills with Rice there. So I with Caicedo there actually. If you can take Partey on his good day and give him some of that knowledge to Caicedo, I think we would look pretty good there. But no, I'm happy with Rice. I'll take it.
Yeah.
He's been exactly what we wanted. It's what we needed, right? We needed who's our leader. I mean, until he gets that armband, which I don't know how he hasn't moved up if there's a ranking of the leadership core.
We don't have that, Gary, innit? We have a leadership group, apparently. It's a leadership group, right?
You know what I mean?
I noticed that when Odegaard went off the other day, I was interested to see who the armband would go to. And I was quite surprised he went to Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Every Rice is going to be there every day. So at some point, availability, everybody else on that list of captains outside of Odegaard is not usually available.
Yeah.
100% of the time, right? Odegaard is always available. He barely, once again, barely gets injured. Knock on wood. Rice, similar thing, and I think he does everything, right? We need something, he goes and does it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We need a goal, he gets an interception, he gets it. You need somebody. I don't know. It's an easy decision to make, and it shouldn't. The team should be happy for it because that's what you bring a player like that in for, right? I mean, it might be hard for him to get. It might be hard for him to get the England captaincy if he can't captain his own club. But
Oh no, he can be aligned for it in England before even Arsenal. I think it's a little bit early in his first season to be talking about captaincy.
Harry Kane,
what do you look for in a captain, and tell me what he doesn't have? What is he? Oh, you just said he just needs longevity. That's it in a squad. So that's the only thing I think he doesn't have. Like he's only played for us for what 10 games?
12 games. Yeah. Exactly, but he's definitely going to be. If Odegaard misses a game, it would be interesting if Declan Rice would get that armband, and keep putting in performances. Stan,
say again. Sorry.
If he keeps putting in performances like he does, like Gary said, Declan Rice does it all. He's a water carrier. He's a firefighter. He's able to turn up in every area of the field that we need him to be in. He's sometimes carrying the ball into the opposition's box from that sixth position. So, for 100 million, we're getting a lot of player.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see that when we have games where Odegaard doesn't start, who gets the armband? Because it sounds to me the leadership group, what's that? 4 players? Is it 5? I'm not sure. 4, something like that. So we have like a little committee, and I suppose Martin Odegaard is the figurehead of it all, which works for me. I mean, he's a very handsome kid, right?
Absolutely. And look, I think some Arsenal fans are on Odegaard's back. I think players can go in and out of form. So let's not, in my opinion anyway, I'm not going to jump on Odegaard for having a few poor performances. And he should and can come back and play well again for us.
My take on this thing about Odegaard, being out of form is, I'm no expert, but I always feel that when you have younger players, then they're going to be not as consistent as more experienced players. And usually you'll have a team and you may have a couple of youngsters that you're introducing. They're not always the starters. They're on the bench, they come in, or they'll rotate in cup games and be eased in. We're the other way. We've got, quite a few players who would be considered starters who are young. Therefore, there's going to be inconsistencies, but this is the path that we've chosen, the route that we've chosen. It's just unlucky when you get a few of them being all inconsistent or out of form at the same time, because then it really hurts you, right? But that's the route that we've chosen. We just have to grin and bear that.
Yeah, we have
21, 22, 23. Imagine when they get to like 25, 26, 27.
Yeah, we're built for success for 2-3 seasons here, Gary?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think it'd be easier for Rice to take on that mantle and let like you said, the young players who are inconsistent with their play, let them just work on their play to get up to that level.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think it's not like we're taking the captaincy and giving it to a player who's never captained a team before. He's got.
But how would you feel, Gary? Let's imagine it was you. You're the captain of Arsenal. You're probably chuffed to bits. Your family are so proud of you. You know what I mean? Your missus is getting on the nest anytime you want. Life is beautiful. And then this other guy comes in and the manager goes, I'm going to give it to this guy. I ain't done anything wrong. I'm just giving it to this guy.
Well, no, it's not that you haven't done anything wrong, but he's shown you what a captain looked like on the pitch.
But so has Odegaard,
hasn't he? Before, so, what I mean is you were talking about the consistency in play, right?
Form.
And we're talking about a player who's been doing it for years now, right?
You can't strip the captain because he's going through bad form. That's a bit harsh. They come back into form, right? I'm sure Alan Shearer.
Like I said, I think it's a really easy decision to give, and I hear what you're saying. Yes, it's really harsh, right? We talk about harsh and being ruthless and stuff like that all the time. Well, the reality is Rice is leading by example, like a captain's supposed to do, and can captain a team.
Here's what I would do, though.
We can have more than one leader on the pitch, right? We can. Let's say we went out. Let's say, for example, in the January window, we went out and we bought Sergio Ramos. Does that mean because we bought Sergio Ramos, we've got to give the captaincy to him now? He's even more experienced than everybody. He's won this. He's won that. I don't think it kind of.
Here's what I think, Stan. Here's what I think, Stan. On the same basis, we're going to judge Havertz. Right, how many games will we judge Havertz over? 10 games.
He's had his 10 games. Season, I think
right?
We'll talk about that later.
I think we should give Odegaard those 10 games to come back into form, and in another 5 or 6 games, we're saying Odegaard's.
I don't need to do that though, because I just don't feel I need to do that because he's not like he's a new player and an unknown quantity. We know what he can hit. He's going through a bad form. So yeah, it's up to the manager then in those circumstances to monitor him in training, and if he does start him and he's still going through that problem, you take him off.
Yeah,
put someone else in.
I think a manager that can go and look at Ramsdale and go, you helped us get into Champions League and helped us even compete for a trophy, and then go, you're still not good enough. I think I don't know what the difference is between that and the Rice Erdegaard comparison. No different
It'd be
to
the
me.
same thing. You'd be the same thing. You'd be just as we are with the goalkeeping situation by taking the captaincy off of, or stripping, if you want to be hardcore about it, the captaincy away from Odegaard and giving it to Rice. I think that what we'd be doing there would be creating another problem like we had with the goalkeeping situation that wasn't there and could have been avoided, because we have a leadership group. We don't have to just saddle someone with the armband because they're the flavour of the month and cost 100 million and what
Yeah,
have
but
you.
somebody's got to wear
I'm
the
just telling
armband.
you, yeah.
And
Somebody's got to wear the armband.
Odegaard has shown us that he can be a great contribution to the team. I just don't understand. There's no need for me.
Yeah, and
well, there's no need for a lot of things, but we see it getting done right now. So, like I said, if you can do those things, then I think you could do that as well. And I get the controversy that it might bring, but it might also bring a little bit of relief that we don't even know to the player who has to take a step back
for me,
work on his craft and all that other stuff that comes along.
For me, I'm just gonna let the club captain work through his form and come out the other end of it. You know what I mean?
I'm sure Tony Adams had patches maybe in his career. He came into the team very young as well. Remember, very young, and I'm sure that he must have gone through patches of being out of form. I think it happens to everyone, and I think that Martin Odegaard has already shown us last season of what he can do. I don't think that he's never going to. That was it. He's a one season wonder. He'll be back, and he'll be back stronger.
And I think I heard on Ars blog, as the disappointment with Norway may possibly have affected him as well internationally.
Oh, what happened to Norway? They booted out the cup.
Well, they didn't qualify. Then they're out of contention for the European championships now. So that may have had a knock-on effect being captain of
international duty. So I'm glad then he gets more time he spends with us. He doesn't have to go away on international duty in fear of getting injured.
I think that. Well, I think that's a little hard. You're being that now. Come on.
I'm being selfish. I'm not bothered about international football, Gary.
No, I know, but these players are. That's why they play in it. So it's very important to them. So like when they fail at it, it definitely affects their work a little bit. So,
and Ben White
wants to play in it, and he is the captain.
I know he does, but I don't want him to. I'm just saying my opinion.
I know, but his sadness. You're laughing at it, and then you're gonna want him to play well. And I'm like, no, but that's what he wants to do. He wants to be a captain there. He wants to be a captain at Arsenal. It comes with a lot of responsibilities that you need to do, right?
Yeah.
So I think I want him to be successful in all the places, but like I said. I don't. It's probably not going to happen, but I see. If you're looking at what an Arsenal captain looks like, that's what it looks like is Rice. I know Erdegaard is doing it to us, and he might be there in a couple of years from now. But
definitely,
it is what you're seeing from Rice, and that's what we spent all that money for. There's a reason why we couldn't. Erdegaard wasn't worth 100 mil, and we'll see if it'll be 100 when he's the same age as
inflation,
Declan, right? Right.
So it's
well, I mean, you go relative and say that, right? So yeah.
I mean, it's gone crazy, isn't it? We were talking about Erdegaard, Madison, and Buendia a couple of seasons ago for 35, 40 million. Emile Smith-Rowe was, Aston Villa were supposedly bidding for Emile Smith-Rowe for about 40 million. 2 seasons ago, this past summer, prime midfielders going for 100 million. And we thought we were paying a lot of money at 105 from West Ham. But Caicedo went for what? 115, 120 delivered to Chelsea. Almost to Liverpool. That was funny. Chris Nick said, I'm a West Ham season ticket holder. I was telling people he's a bargain at 100 million. Yeah, listen, you pay the going rate. Rice is our MVP so far. Yeah, definitely. Scored 2 goals as well, which we didn't think he could do. Maybe he's the candidate for that left 8 if Thomas Partey, because nobody's really jumped into that left 8 position right now. Boise, Gunners are us. Thanks for joining us, Boise. West Ham fans compared Rice to Bobby Moore. I mean, yeah, it's always difficult to compare generations. I was talking to someone about Rice today, the McChronicle. I've got it now, the McChronicle. Saka wore it too. Um, the man in the middle is usually the leader, controls the tempo of the game. Interesting. Yeah. We have our midfield general now. You know what I mean? Um, McChronicle said, I was telling this person because he was a center back coming through the academy, really hid his athleticism at West Ham with how he was playing. Look, I was watching Declan Rice when he was playing against us for probably 2 seasons. He scored 1 goal against us when he was really young. But I never thought we'd have an opportunity to have a Declan Rice in our team, you know? And I keep talking about this generation of players coming through Hale End. We have to punctuate this generation with trophies at some point, and it's got to happen. For me, we got to get a trophy this season. You know what I mean? We have the team. We can do it. David Moyes needs to take credit for Rice. He was center half when Moyes arrived. Then he moved him into the midfield. It's kind of tough giving David Moyes credit for much.
Well, you can't say that and then say Arteta has helped our young players get better. I think they come together. You can't, you know what I mean? People will say, well, Arteta's done this and this and this, and everybody will go, yeah, you're right. Moyes
I
has
think
had
it's a
something.
combination, Gary.
Moyes had something to do with Rice because he could have hurt him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, he
Yeah,
let him grow, and he's gotten better with under that coach. I think he has
yeah.
something to do with it. Whether he picked the right person to coach him, as an assistant or not, but I think he has something to do with it. Yes,
Yeah.
not every player comes out and doesn't require coaching at all. Actually,
And
the best players will embrace the coaching that they get. So
and even Gary, even Declan Rice is on record this summer preseason into the season saying he's learning new things each and every day
yeah,
at Arsenal. You know what I mean? Which is expanding his game, and we can see it in his performances.
yeah.
He's that kind of player. You just see it from that Chelsea game. Even Gary, he was not giving up. You know what I mean? And he dragged us out of the fire at Stamford Bridge when we really
Manchester United game. I mean, there's countless
Manchester
games
United
where
game.
he's doing the little things that we need to get done. All right,
Yeah,
he's probably one of the more consistent players that we have. He might, does he go missing where you're like, oh, I didn't know where Rice was today? No,
you
he's
see him.
right there, and that and Erdegaard is he's not really in the middle, but he's in the middle of the pitch, and he has a say as to how things go. I think your presence is known and seen, regardless where you are in the pitch, right? That's how you become world class
Mhm.
for any position on the pitch, right? So I think it's easy to see when he's out there and what he's doing for us. So
Yeah.
I say
Um,
it's good for us.
no, I mean you don't miss him when he's on the field. You can see him. The Chronicle on Declan Rice. People hopefully see why Man City were bidding for him along with Arsenal. Just saying. Um, Brownie said,
He was definitely the more sound of the two when you have Casado and Rice, right? Or Rice Casado, however you want to. He
yeah,
was the more sound choice. It was the easier choice in terms of, you know what you're gonna
he
get.
was the one
And
that you could see would fit right in,
yeah.
and
I
you
think
know,
they both could fit in. Whether or not, I don't know, Casado would be giving us. He wouldn't be giving us that kind of leadership probably, but that
well,
his athleticism and
athleticism.
all of that
Yeah,
would have shined for us as well. And we need some of that um, ruthlessness on the pitch as well that he would bring. Right, Rice seems not as ruthless as what we've seen from Casado in the past, but he does get the job done. Right, he
hmm
he he does what he needs to do, and then you don't like go, damn, that was that was a strong tackle. He doesn't really have to do that, but he does his job well. So
Brownie said, hang on. The captaincy in Europe only goes on longevity at the club, so let's not compare Sergio Ramos. It's only Premier League fans who value captaincy. Um, Rice is establishing leadership by his play and presence on the pitch. It'll come eventually. Yeah, like I said, BX, you're right. If you keep putting in those performances and being available each and every weekend and during the week for Champions League Cup games, you will get that opportunity. Then Norway still have a chance to qualify due to playoffs. I think it may be a slim chance though. Saka looks like he's next in line for the. I don't know if Saka's next in line for the captaincy. He wore the armband after Erdegaard came off. That might be just a situational thing. I don't. I mean, would we want Saka to be captain? I mean, it would be an honor for him to do it, but would it burden him?
We can only have one. I mean, we've got a lot of good players.
Stan's like, hold on.
Give it to
Can only
Saliba.
be one.
I mean, we've got so many good players, right? And it's a good situation to be in. I mean, it's no different to when we had Vieira in the team with Henry and Pires and Bergkamp. We can only have one captain. Yeah. And the three that I've named there from that older team, they could have all been in the running to have worn the armband, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to leave it to the manager's choice, who knows what it is that he wants the captain to bring, as in how they communicate together and how the captain, is respected and looked after by the leadership team, not leadership team, the rest of the players.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? How they respond to them.
Yeah. How Saka would respond to it, he may indeed excel in that position, taking on that responsibility. Probably when he gets a little bit older, in my opinion,
When he gets a little older. That is a little strange. Why is that lady kissing you?
Somebody loves you, Stan. Somebody loves you.
Probably got to take the rubbish out or some shit.
Yeah. Maybe you did take the rubbish out and you're getting that for that reward there. You know what I mean? Tiger and Gunnar, you missed us last week. You're here. Thank you very much. I know you were on vacation last week, Tiger and Gunnar. Welcome all the way from Australia, Gary?
Yes, sir.
Anything else to say about that kiss for Stan? 9 out of 10, Stan.
That's good. I don't know if
usually if I'm watching a podcast, I'm watching one and I see a woman in the background, I'll go straight into the chat and I'll just go, woman.
Boy said, well, it better now than what we had 4 seasons ago. We had no leaders or captain material. Yeah, true. I think I saw something earlier on the Twitter timeline. The players we had 4 years ago, maybe you have a couple of players in this team today, Alexis Sanchez being one of them. So, Gary, really, really good to go to Sevilla and get that win, in a tough place.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think they were coming in pretty hot, right? I mean, they just drew with Real Madrid. Everybody said they looked really good, and you're like, I think at the beginning of the season we saw Sevilla in our group, and it was like, that's going to be a tough match for us, right? They have European, pedigree in terms of competing in it. I know it's probably so that was going to be tough for us, right? So we still are trying to regain that presence in European football. So I think you can see that. I mean, the fact that I just watched the game again just before this while I was finishing up my work here, and I mean, I know it gets loud at the Emirates, but it was just nonstop there. For that. I don't know what crypto with Brownie is saying, but
skip. Move on, Gary. Move on.
Yeah, no, I just. Why don't you guys? Both of you guys ignore what I had to say to see what it is, and now you're telling me ignore it. I couldn't. Because you both looked down. You both looked down and went, go on.
That's because you're more professional than we are, Gary. You're the main newscaster.
No, oh, man.
Look,
I lost my train of thought now. What was I talking about?
That's all right. You were in Barbados, Gary, and Tiger and Gunnar was in Bali. So
I bet Brownie, which is in Barbados.
Yeah. Put the island on alert, right? Brownie, well, you get to jail for okay. All right. So Martinelli, that Martinelli goal, expertly set up by Gabriel Jesus with the Cruyff turn.
You know what the premonition for that was? Also, if you, because I watched the game, like I said, I watched the game the second time. Remember his first attempt at goal
Yes.
which I think he should have put away.
Through the keeper's legs.
Yeah. Oh, what? Put
Side.
to the keeper's legs or far corner if he could square around a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a similar premonition for kind of what Jesus did also early in the game, where he had an opportunity to take a shot and
Yes.
he just it wasn't good at all.
That was just getting
So
their side in,
they
playing
got
darts,
exactly, and
versus
they
cider.
got that second chance and they did not waste it. You know what I
They
mean?
didn't miss.
He did not waste it on that second time, and that like whatever 10 seconds before that the ball comes into the box, you're like, oh crap, it gets cleared out, I think by Sevilla player, and then ends up at the feet of Jesus, and with a nice little move to get that ball onto his left foot, he's then able to put that pass through to Jesus, like bang bang, and they were
Martinelli.
in trouble, right?
I mean,
And that's it was like bang bang, and then
Puts the
he's
shot.
through on goal with just the goalkeeper, who I think some people said the goalkeeper should have come up sooner, but I think that happened really fast. I don't think he thought Jesus would be able to make, because he basically had two defenders around him, right? He kind of split them and then got that ball out.
Yep.
As in, that is something. Who can do that on our team besides Erdogan?
Exactly.
Right? There's not that many on our team that can make that maneuver and are pretty good with the ball at their feet to split it to get away from a defender and then put a ball. So that's what he brings to us, right? That kind of movement and speed with the ball that we're looking for. And
this is this is the kind of play that Arsenal fans want. They want the team to play like, but we're not. We're just not that team. We can counterattack, but our game is more premised on possession now. And
we looked really good doing it, which begs like when you do have to sell it into some defense, then we can definitely come out of it pretty quickly. We don't have to wait for the defense to get set. We've shown that we can do it. So for me, I think we just take what they give us, right? If the other opponent, gets a little bit of a time on the ball and we're able to just blitz them with a counterattack, then we should do that. And I think we're good when we just decide to go forward. We're really good when we do that. A lot of times we will settle for let's build up from the back kind of thing. And I'm like, defenses are back are when they're chasing us, then we're in the control here. Yep. I say take what it gives to us, and
I think it was a consequence of the game state where Sevilla were pushing for that opening goal, and they moved up, as you said, Gary. They had two players just on the other side of the halfway line, and we were able to counter really quickly on them. That's what we can do, Stan. We can absorb pressure in Europe as well, away from home, absorb that pressure, maybe hit players on the counterattack like that, because we have players in those 4 forward positions that can hurt oppositions.
Yeah, and the goals that we scored were quite good ones to, very entertaining goals, even from a neutral standpoint. I would say they're enjoyable goals to actually see. I mean, the first one was Martinelli rounding the keeper after he went up against 1-on-1 with that keeper before. Didn't get much joy, but it was almost like a few people have said it, and when I was watching the replay, it almost looked like when I showed the replay, almost like he was running along, and then it kind of slowed down for a few seconds, and then it went back to its normal speed. And I was like, was that him, or was that like the camera, the way the camera's shown it? But a few people said that he looked like he did kind of almost like he went into like bullet time thing they have in the Matrix.
Slow motion.
As he went around the keeper.
And that's maybe it was in real time. You know what I mean? Maybe Martinelli had such good control on the ball that he was able to slow up going past the keeper.
It really reminded me of the goal the goal that really announced him when he sort of sped off and scored against Chelsea. Yes. It had those vibes to it. But you have to say that the work from Gabriel Jesus to play him in, I mean, you got to have it all happened so quickly. And in that split second, he's got to have the vision to know that the guy's there. The turn, not to get pushed over or the ball taken away from him, and then to put the perfect weight on that ball to allow Martinelli to just run onto it in the way that he did. I mean,
Yeah,
very
and
good goal.
we haven't seen Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka together for too many games.
No,
It's just starting to happen now.
Yeah.
And maybe some of that fluency from last season that we're missing this season will start coming back
And
into the team. You
I've
know,
always thought that the games that we have seen Martinelli and Jesus play together, they seem to combine very well.
have that connection.
They seem
Yeah.
to know where each other, where they are on the pitch.
Yep.
I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that first goal.
So
No,
you
they
know,
are definitely. They definitely. No, like you said, they kind of can read each other's mind and read the play ahead. Read the defense
complement each other.
and then punish them for it. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like why Saka should have that as well, right? I don't know why.
Brazilian connection.
I get that, but
He does a little bit with Ben
Saka,
White, doesn't he? They seem to have a good reading of each other when they're both
Yeah.
playing.
yeah, but Jesus is going to give him a ball more in an attacking position than Ben White is, because he's got the touch and all
Well,
that. So
I don't know if they connect as much. If
I
you,
get it. I know they don't. I'm saying
Mm.
I want them to because I think he needs to. Because right now it seems like Saka
And Odegaard.
wants to work. He wants to work hard
Mhm.
for it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Jesus, you saw all that Martinelli had to do is just run to the spot, right?
Mhm.
Once he got between those two defenders, the ball was right there, right? Whereas Saka has to always, he's going to have to be 1, 2, 3 players to get
isn't
something out
that
of it.
isn't that their natural game though, Gary? You got Martinelli, he's got speed to get onto
I
that.
don't know about you, but I would rather not have to work hard to beat a player if I can just make a run and the ball's right there at my feet.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
he can do that because I think he has, he's smart enough to be able to, make those moves, I believe. So I think it's just a case of like, I don't know. I just think it'd be nice to be able to see it come off the other side as well. I mean, I think if you put, I don't know,
I wonder
whatever
what
play,
the speed difference is between the two wingers. You know what I mean?
I'm talking. Well, yeah, for Saka, he's going to have to need the defense to look away from him, and maybe that never happens. But I'd
Mhm.
be surprised when Martinelli's coming up that left hand side that the defense isn't really edging towards him sometimes. Because he definitely does put a little pressure on them, and sometimes I think Saka just needs to go now, not wait, just go now. Because there's many times where you see a cross come in, and he'll never get there. Whereas maybe if he was thinking like 2 and 3 seconds ahead, he might have made that run sooner and been right there when the ball comes through.
Interesting.
Right. So
In your mind's eye, when you think of Martinelli, he's the player who's going to go for that deep ball, long ball down the line. And in your mind's eye, you think of Saka. He's a player who's coming back. He's coming toward the ball as
There's
Ben
reasons
White
for that, though.
into his feet.
There's reasons for that. On the left-hand side, you've got Martinelli, who was working very well with Xhaka and also Jesus. But behind him, the fullback doesn't really come and overlap. The fullback is going inverted. Whereas I think Martinelli, for me, reminds me very much of Theo Walcott in his directness. Is that he's also I would say, a very wide player. He sticks to the byline.
Mm-hmm.
And even when he does decide to come cutting in, he's almost doing it from the corner flag. Whereas on the other side, you've got Saka working with Odegaard and Ben White. Well, Ben White, he comes up the pitch more, doesn't he? He comes right up into the final third, sometimes on an overlap. So you see Saka, he comes to cut in on the 6-yard box. He likes to cut in on the 6-yard box, get the ball there and take his shot from just on the edge of the 6-yard box. So I like that. They're very different. They're not playing in the same way, but you can see the way that each of those players have the other players who they're working with affects their play. Martinelli doesn't have what the Ben White situation happening with him.
No. Yeah.
So he has to play on that side.
I just think at some point you have to switch things up a little bit because when you know what they're going to do because they do the same thing every time. Eventually, you need to switch things up, and I think that's when he has to try something different, and good players will just find a different way, right? Look, I am not going to get past this player that's in front of me. I'm just not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to think about do something different, Sometimes moving without the ball is better than with the ball. You know.
But
True.
I always go back to Aaron Robin. Everybody knew the move. Aaron Robin. Everybody knew the move. We knew
Well, they
it.
couldn't beat it. Yeah.
But you know,
His manager knew it. His teammates knew
yeah.
it. The opposition knew it. But guess what? He had so much confidence in his own belief in what he was doing. He still pulled off that move all the time. We all knew it was going to happen, and he done it. And maybe we're going to be fortunate enough to be in that similar situation with the way that we play.
Yeah, I mean, he was really quick, right? Really quick, and he just got you leaning the wrong way, and bam, you're in trouble because you're in trouble because you're already concerned about the speed, right? And all of a sudden, a couple of moves he's got, and you're leaning the wrong way, and he's gone, all right? So, yeah, you just have to you have to be able to take whatever that skill is you have and master it, so that as you say, no matter what you do, I got an answer for you. And Saka needs to find that answer when he does get stalled, right? So
it'd be interesting to look back and see in that move you've got Jesus central playing the ball through for Martinelli, where Saka was. He was probably in a defensive right back area of the field. But the difference between Gabriel Jesus at Chelsea and this Gabriel Jesus at Sevilla, it's two different players almost in his performance, and sort of that's why you maybe persevere and stick with a player. I'm thinking about Odegaard here. You persevere with Odegaard, keep playing him, and he'll play himself into form. The way Gabriel Jesus, two different performances between Stamford Bridge and Sevilla.
He has a very good record in the Champions League, doesn't he, Jesus?
Yes, he does.
It's almost a bit like
and already this season too.
Reminds me of Danny Welbeck. When you used to see him playing for England, he used to look a little bit above his level than when he was playing for his club team, whether it was Manchester United or us. He always looked better in an England shirt for some reason. Maybe Jesus has a touch of that. But just going back to Martinelli, that goal that he scored, you need two things. First thing you need is balls of steel to even try that, right? Second thing that you must have is ultimate belief in yourself and your talents.
Confidence.
And it's obvious to me that Martinelli has both of those traits in spades. That's a good thing for us.
Confidence in himself, confidence in his ability. And look, as Gary said, you watch it back and you realize, I've had this chance already. I've tried to take the goalkeeper on with a shot. This time I'm going to go around the goalkeeper.
This time I was going to walk it around him.
Because I have that ability in the Champions League in a tough environment in Sevilla that I can do that. And I've got the time and space provided to me by Gabriel Jesus in the middle of the pitch.
It's definitely a different way to play because you saw Jesus do that in the Manchester United game, right? Like, I don't know if will we ever see Saka in a similar situation?
Yes.
And actually pull it off like that, where he's got the player on the ground. We've seen that. When we've seen that?
I mean, I haven't quite seen it.
No,
but
that's what I'm saying. Like
you said, will we?
But will we? And you know what, we will. But I'm just saying, I don't think he's in that position much. I don't know, and I think that's because of, like you said, the way we play. But he needs to be able to do something similar to that. I think for me, a lot of times when he gets the ball, when he gets the ball out there on that wing there, and the defender is just trying to get there, he lets them get there. I think he just needs to take them on, and then because I think we've seen it multiple times where he just gets past his defender and puts the cross in.
You will.
Right? So
I think you see that, Gary, when a player is supremely confident, like Gabriel Jesus against Man United. He knew he had a prime chance, and he knew what he was doing before. The best goal scorers, they know what they're going to do before they do it. It's like a choreographed move,
Martinelli was like, you know what? I tried going through, so this time I'm just going to go around. Do you know what I mean? See what happens if I try that.
Yeah.
There was someone else who keep trying to go through, trying to go. Could you imagine Eddie scored a goal like that? Have you ever seen Eddie score a goal like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that sort of a style of a goal? Has he ever done anything like that?
I didn't bring him up.
I know.
Right?
So
I didn't bring him up. Right? I mean,
the guy sitting on the bench.
Can we move on? Because I don't want to go down that road. That's
He
like you
probably.
just get. That's too much of a tease. No, I'm not gonna. Come on,
All right.
move on.
We'll move
Something
on with
else.
Thomas. We'll move on with Thomas Partey. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is true, but some people are saying because of the smoke around Partey, he wasn't allowed into Spain. Is that
Get
true?
his collar felt, apparently. I don't know.
Huh?
Someone said
Or
that
was
if he
he
goes to
injured?
Spain, he's going to get his collar felt. Do you know what I mean? So
Or is he injured?
who knows? Because the funny thing is about
Yeah.
Thomas Partey is I keep seeing a couple of stories today where it's like Partey dissatisfied with lack of minutes, and I'm like, we can't play if you're
That's
not fit, man.
journos.
You can't play
That's
if you're not fit.
journalists.
It's just clickbait because he's not been fit. He's not been available for selection. When he has been available for selection, apart from the game before Spain, in Spain, he was on the bench, right? We didn't see him at all. So a lot of people are like, well, he wasn't match fit. I'm like, so why is he on the bench taking up someone else's place?
Came on in the City game and provided, the ball up to Tomiyasu.
Didn't come on in the Chelsea
for a
game, though,
goal.
did he? He was on the bench, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Didn't
play
come
in
on.
the Chelsea.
So again, we've been told it's an injury problem, but maybe it's easier to mask another reason with that.
He was on the bench but didn't play.
I don't know.
At Chelsea. Yeah. Well, listen, we do hope Thomas Partey comes back because I believe Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, and Ødegaard is the strongest midfield in the Premier League, And if we're going to go far in competitions, I think Thomas Partey will have a part to play in this season. And,
a party to play. Sorry.
A party to play. Very good. Very good.
He's available,
and
apparently,
if he's available
he's only been available for something like it was either 30 or 40% of the games that have been. That's what he's been available for. That's not good enough, is it? That's not good. 30%.
If we accept this is his last season, we can compartmentalize that into 16 or 20 games from him this season.
It's good when he's available.
If he's this fragile, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's this fragile, then he shouldn't have gone on international duty. That's just based on what we are right now. Yes, it's hindsight and all of that, but if he wasn't healthy enough to give us if he wasn't healthy enough to start for us in that City match, right?
Yeah.
There's no way he's ready to go on international duty and play whatever minutes they're going to give him.
But that's not his decision to make. He
is not healthy.
You get called up by a country.
He is not healthy. Let's try that again. He's not healthy.
You can say
if he's healthy,
he didn't play. He didn't play.
He did play He did play when he was away.
I don't think he played for Ghana.
I thought he played.
No.
I thought he played at least.
He went. He was called. I don't think he played. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Yeah. I'm sure you're checking it. I can see you're checking on that.
Yeah. I thought he played. Like for me, if he's not going to play, then he shouldn't have gone either. I think that I get what he has to, but I'm just like, no. I mean, it doesn't help the player long term for Ghana.
It's a long way.
If he goes on, he makes that trip and then he's not able to participate, I think it's just, it's not good for the player, and it's not long term. It's not good for them at all. So I kind of feel like you're doing a disservice to your play when you do that.
And BX said, Thomas Partey couldn't go to Spain for legal reasons. I kind of heard that. I don't know if it's 100% true, but gotta run with that. I'm not sure if Thomas Partey played for Ghana, but unfortunately, the country calls him up. He's got to go. BX said he did play against the USA. So there you go.
I think he played the whole game, or he played at least a half for that.
Okay.
For a player's, like I said, for a player's health, they need to be able to give you starts, and the fact that he wasn't able to, I kind of felt like, it's hurting the player and it's hurting us, right?
When it comes to depth, Gary, I can check it out for you as well. Are you still searching?
I'm just trying to see if I can see like what he played, how he played.
Yeah, Tiger and Gunner. It's a tricky one. The clubs pay the wages. The country utilize the players. It is a very tricky situation.
Yeah, it kind of sucks for the team, especially like, well, let's see, he's been hurt all the time, but all of a sudden, international break comes around and players are ready to jump on that plane and go. I just don't. It's you. It's just how what? How is that?
For,
How is
Do you
for
remember
how
back in
good?
the day when it was Manchester United and some of their key international players? So the ones that they're always going to
Yeah,
get picked. Alex
Alex
Ferguson would be
Ferguson.
like, "No, he's got a sprint or he's not going to friendly." And he'd be
He's
like,
not going anywhere.
"You're like, okay, Sir Alex, no problem. I only call him up for the World Cups. That's it." Do you know what I mean? Like, fair enough.
he played for 109 minutes and he's given us
Mm.
what did you say he played in the City match?
20 odd
Yeah.
minutes in the City match.
So
Yeah.
if he can only give you 20 minutes and that's after a break, there's no way he's ready to go international, travel, and then play for 100 minutes. Just not like the travel on top of that. The travel by itself is it sucks for the player. Now you're asking him to play
Yeah.
and put in double, triple the amount of time he's given his own team in like what the last 3 or 4 weeks. Well, I don't know how long he's been out, but it seems like he's been out for weeks, right? It just doesn't. It doesn't sound right to me, that whole situation.
Yeah, he came out and in the 64th minute he came out. So did he play 64 minutes?
Played 45 minutes against Mexico.
And when we send him
64
away,
okay. Okay.
when we send him away, don't we insist that he takes like a personal physician with him as well? Like he's like
Yes.
105 years
Yeah.
old.
We send them a minor. We send the minder along with him. Exactly. BX, you were talking about more than football in your comments. Kettle Black. Okay. Arteta out from Why Not is back.
Why Not has joined us. There you go. Yeah.
Right?
I guess we can never convince you if Arsenal are top of their Champions League group into the last 16 in the Carabao Cup and in third place, separated by not many points from first place. We'll never be able to convince you.
1 point and 2 goals from being, easily ahead in the league.
Yeah.
So
And look at that Tottenham team. They will come across some difficult fixtures in the coming weeks. So I'm going to be here for the Ange heartache. Boys, what you were saying is tasteless if you keep posting someone else.
So he's been out for about 6 weeks. Gave Arsenal 15 minutes according to Transfer Market, but then he gave us 100 minutes to Ghana. It doesn't make sense in your recovery. It doesn't make sense, and now he can't play for I don't. And what they lost those two? They lost the 2 matches, right?
Yeah,
so they lost on aggregate. They lost 6-0. So his defense isn't working there. All right. USA had 4 goals scored. They scored 4 goals on them.
Yeah.
So
US. Yeah.
I don't.
I
just think he needed to. He's not ready yet, and once again, it's almost like Arteta pushing him back onto the pitch. I mean, they pushed him onto that Ghana field, and with that Ghana shirt on, and he wasn't ready. And now he comes back, and he's even probably more. All that recovery for what? It's wasted now.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to go back to the drawing board and let him rest up in time for the January window when he's off again.
Hope not.
This is. I mean, I get it. Like the country calls. The man's been out. He's been out. Like there's no way he should have made the trip, and if he did make it, it was to come in late in games.
Maybe it's a punishment. Maybe it's like, I'm really tired, boss. I think I'll just go home and have a nap. And Mikel was like, nope, you're on the fucking bench, mate.
The mechanical say Partey didn't get back to London until the morning of the Chelsea game, so he definitely wasn't playing. But then again, why was he on the bench if you couldn't play anyway? Look, I think I know we're going to disagree on this one, but the player can be on a bench and give you 10 or 15 minutes in a game if you need him. You know what I mean?
No, obviously not, because he did not come on.
If you need him in an emergency,
he hasn't.
Break glass.
Since he's come back, there's been how many games, and he hasn't played. I don't. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. He shouldn't have gone. He shouldn't have gone. He shouldn't have played. He's not healthy.
Can everyone in the group chat just have a big hug, please? Just have a big hug.
A big hug.
Take a breath. Take a breath. Can we all say Tottenham are shit, right? Even though they're top of the league.
I don't know what you just said. I just know that team is in London as well. So
all right. How about Tomiyasu? Stan.
He's looking good. Oh.
Gary.
He's not Zinchenko, right? So I was well happy.
That's why I went to Stan, because he's got a slight distaste for Zinchenko as a footballer.
Defender. Here's the thing, right? We had a defender playing at left back, and I really enjoyed that. Call me old fashioned, do you know what I mean? But I just like that. But the question that I have is about this left back inverted situation that we're suffering at the moment.
Gary.
Yep. Why do we have to have a midfielder playing in defence to invert into the midfield? Why can't we have a defender who's a defender inverting into the midfield so that we have the technical security of someone that can actually fucking defend?
We're doing that now when Tomiyasu plays.
Maybe that was a plan with Timber. And Zinchenko was going to probably get in less minute time had Timber not been injured. Who knows? But for me, and another second part to that is, I don't think Mikel Arteta is ever going to start Zinchenko in the midfield. It would have to be smash glass in an emergency before I think we'll ever see that. And I even think that if push comes to shove and we've got a problem in midfield, Mikel Arteta would rather start El Neni in midfield than Zinchenko. So I don't understand this fascination with Zinchenko. If he's coming into midfield to invert, he's obviously one that Mikel Arteta doesn't think is a very good one, because I don't think he's ever going to start him as a left eight or put him in the midfield. So for me, the experiment kind of contradicts itself. We've got a guy that's going into midfield. Hold on, that's never going to start in midfield for Arsenal, and he can't defend. That's two problems. Give me a defender.
No. You can't just do a but when I was just told to shut up.
No,
don't say anything. I'm talking.
You go.
No. I was gonna say, what part of Zinchenko's role where he inverts is not what a midfielder would do?
I don't like it.
When he inverts, what part of the role that he takes when he inverts do you go, well, that's not what a midfielder really does? So,
well, I'll tell you what it is. Like, he leaves his big gaping hole behind him for a start, right? For me, and that's a problem. And it's not like he's coming into midfield and banging a goal in or banging in an assist. For me, he's coming to midfield, and I get it that we have an extra body and he's able to pass the ball sideways or backwards or to someone just off of him. I get that. But for me now, we are insecure at the back with the big hole that he leaves. And when he does shuffle to try and get back, he's not that good at defending anyway. And then we're putting a lot of stress on Mega Legs, who, even though he's Mega Legs by nickname, he hasn't actually got Mega Legs. He's got to keep getting over to the left-hand side to try and mop up. And then when he does that, he's now left a hole. And we hope that Declan Rice sees that hole and can somehow slot in. It's a lot of moving pieces. Which is, like I said, having a left back that can't defend.
Like I said, but let's not talk about the negatives because he can't defend. Got it.
We all agree.
But let's talk about the supposed positives.
That's easy.
What does he do when he inverts? Because that's where his positives are. That a midfielder is he bringing something? What midfielder trait characteristic does he bring when he inverts?
For me, if you're asking me that question. For me, the only thing that I get about it is that we now have an extra body in midfield. But when he does come into midfield, I don't even see him as being very effective, in my opinion. I just see that we have another person in there.
He does combine very well with other midfielders. He's able to pass the ball in midfield, which is the primary.
Yeah, every footballer can pass the ball to a teammate that's quite close to them.
Yep.
He's passing the ball. You should be able to pass the ball around. I'm not disputing that, but what I'm saying is I don't see him coming to midfield and like bang one in. I don't see him coming into midfield and put the ball into someone's head.
Yeah, but I don't think...
And if he's not doing that and he's just passing the ball around, which we just said that he should be able to do that anyway, we've now left a big hole behind us that I'm now worried about. And when he has to run back to try and get back into position, he's not good enough to get into the right positions and execute a tackle to get the ball.
Right.
Not good enough to do that.
we all agree he's not able to get back into position and be an effective defender. People are saying
It's a
he's getting
problem.
a little bit
That's the problem.
he's getting a little bit better at defending, but he is not primarily not a defender. For
And that's the
me,
problem.
he just like you said, Stan. There's another body in midfield which helps with us building possession in games. There are always going to be situations where we lose the ball and we get countered into that space.
So then the answer is, why can't we have that extra body going into midfield? Who, as I said at the beginning, is why have we got a midfielder playing in a defensive role to invert into the midfield? Why can't we have a defender? Yeah,
right.
Who can defend. Why can't he invert into the midfield? Who then, when we need him to defend, can actually defend? I don't know if it's Tomiyasu. I don't know if it's Ben White, Yuri and Timber, Kiwior, but I know that it shouldn't be the one player that isn't an actual defender playing in that role. Do you see what I'm getting at?
I see where you're getting at. Yeah. Now, one second. Gary is going to leave us for a few minutes. He's got to pick up one of his kids. He will be listening. Drive safely, Gary.
It's like we never saw, for example, when Kieran Tierney was still at the club, we never once saw Kieran Tierney start as left back and Zinchenko go into the midfield. Even if it was an in-game change to something that happened, he doesn't do that. We've not seen Tomiyasu start at left back and Zinchenko be moved into the midfield. He takes Zinchenko off the pitch more often than not.
Yeah. Now, have we, leading into that, have we discovered a situation where we play Zinchenko in the hopes of getting a lead, Stan, and then we have that lead and bring Tomiyasu in? Because one of the main substitutions this season has always been Zinchenko coming off for another player, and lately it's been Tomiyasu coming in.
And
to
the
be
time
that more solid defender
has gradually been decreasing. So we're at the stage now where he didn't even start the last game.
Who's that?
Zinchenko. So
yes,
he had two players that he was, sort of like persevering with. One being Kai Havertz when he brought him in. The other being Zinchenko.
Yep.
Both of those players are now on the bench.
Which tells
me that the manager's thinking, okay, I can't have these two maybe as starters at the moment. So then my question is, if he's had the foresight to see that and to withdraw them from the starting lineup, is he going to do the same with David Raya? Because David Raya, for me, is doing a similar thing to both of what they did. They're not up to snuff. He's not up to snuff.
We'll get to.
Or is he going to make that change and be brave, like he's done it with Zinchenko? He's done it with Havertz. Will he do it with Raya?
We'll get to the goalkeeper thing in just a second, okay? I want to ask the question with Havertz and with Tomiyasu in those positions, right? Has Arteta started to figure out after 12 games or whatever it is the best positions in the best players in those positions? He's tried Havertz at the left 8, didn't really come off very well. The last couple of games we've put Havertz further forward and he's been able to create a little bit of havoc up there, generate a goal or two for us in that position. And he's found Tomiyasu has been brilliant coming on in that left back position as well. Probably our best defender at the club.
I think that there'll be many games to come where Martin Odegaard won't be coming off, so Havertz won't be able to go into that position. I think Havertz is going to end up being a bit of a Swiss Army knife, where he will be coming off the bench maybe, and there'll be a variety of places of where he can be put. And as long as he's effective when he does that, then maybe it makes him a useful player for the squad.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu, I don't think he's the best defender at the club. I think, that William Saliba's got to be up there.
Well, yeah. I'm thinking more of a
versatility.
Man-to-man marker for wingers is my thoughts for Tomiyasu.
He's very
You know?
he's very versatile, and there were times in that game against Seville where, you know, if you had just landed in a spaceship at pitch side and had a look at what was going on, you'd think that Tomiyasu was our striker.
Yeah,
There
he
are
was
other times,
everywhere, right?
there are other times where if you'd landed in the spaceship and looked onto the pitch, you would have thought that Declan Rice was our striker. That's
Yeah.
how free flowing this team is in attack.
If you look at that first goal, that Martinelli has such pace to get onto and score and go around the goalkeeper. The one player who's trying to break his neck to get into the box or be close to Martinelli, it's Tomiyasu from the left back
There you go.
position. Just in case Martinelli would get stopped by the goalkeeper or defender, he would be available for that pass if you watch that back again. You know what I mean?
High risk, high reward, right?
Yeah.
That's what it seems to be. Because
BX,
if you're in that position, you've got to finish the move off, because if you don't, you've left holes. And you've left teammates having to do more than one job now. So you've got to capitalize when you play high risk like that. You got to make it count. Otherwise, we're on the back foot, and before you know it, the ball can be moved up the pitch so quickly it's in the back of our net.
I actually think as well with Tomiyasu playing so well and popping up in positions we don't expect him to be in, he's going to score a goal one of these games coming up pretty soon, because he's playing adventurously, taking shots. You know,
he was very close at the beginning of the game, didn't he? Where he almost
with that shot that dragged wide a little bit. BX said Havertz is better on the right, linking up with Saka and White. We need to get Havertz closer to the goal as well. The McChronicle said.
Sorry,
good.
I was just going to say, my only worry when we play right backs as left backs and left backs as right backs, for example, is that we've done it many times before, and we put a player in there that doesn't usually play in as a left back, and they look good for a game or two, but then you sit on over a longer period of time, it doesn't work. And so far, Tomiyasu's looked good, but I'm curious to see that over a period of time whether he'll be able to maintain what he can do on his natural foot in a natural footed position out on the left. You know?
Yeah. The McChronicle said Stan's referencing Arteta's favoritism tendency from his previous years as manager. He needs to snap out of it. He won't get forever with the board and fan base. But I think the Arsenal fan base and the board will be more forgiving than most other clubs if Arteta would struggle in the next couple of years. Do you think the favoritism is going to be hurtful to the team, Stan?
What you mean, the favoritism in what way? What of Mikel with certain
I
players?
think you're referencing, and now maybe we can go into that goalkeeping conversation. I think that's what the McChronicle's talking about when we talked about the tendency from previous years for favoritism. We've seen it with Granit Xhaka, and Granit Xhaka was able to back it up last season.
It's not so bad when the player backs it up, but maybe Mikel was also less confident in the players that were coming off the bench and was very wary of having to draw from that well. Because like he said, didn't he? He said there were times last season or whatever there, he would want to change the goalkeeper, but he didn't have the courage because he didn't have the personnel to do it. Well, he got the personnel now.
Yeah.
Okay. He has the personnel now to change the goalkeeper. So let's see if he meant what he said.
It would be a monumental thing if and when it happens. BX said Martinelli low-key is developing his technical skills as well as blinding speed. Yeah, he's only going to get better, BX as well. Why not said Havertz is born flop? Yeah, we're waiting to see if it doesn't look good right now, if the stats become more and more as he plays games. Havertz is best playing deep on the sofa. Havertz is another Bundesliga flop. You have to give him some time, maybe a little bit more time as well. What are we going to do? I didn't buy the player. Stan didn't buy the player. Mikel Arteta bought the player, and Arsenal bought the player. So Martinelli is not technically developing. His kick and run decision making is improving. True. Example.
See, we've got lots of different opinions. That's two opinions in a row about Martinelli. One said he is developing. technically, and someone else believes that he isn't.
It's more of a kick and run, but there is technicality in going around the goalkeeper as well.
He didn't even
Well,
break his stride in the dribble. He just continued to dribble around.
mhm. And this is the Champions League, and Sevilla, I think they won the Europa League last season. So Sevilla are a decent team. You can't understate the impact of a win in the Champions League on Tuesday night against this team to break, for my opinion, to break open the group a little bit, Stan. So we're in control of this group now. Moving forward, we got 2 home games coming against Lens and Sevilla. The next one is Sevilla and Lens, and then we finish at PSV away from home. And if we mind our business, that away from home Sevilla PSV game could be a game where you field some players that wouldn't be your first choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it depends if you've got the job or in the bag by then. Why would
Yep,
you?
exactly.
The thing at that point would be to field a slightly weaker team if it's not going to affect the standings. But you said you wanted to talk about the keeper.
Yeah, we're going to go to keeper now. Let me finish the point on to be progressive or pragmatic. I've kept this up for over a year because of Zinchenko. Probably is the reason why that banner is here. We're still trying to figure out if it's the best thing to be progressive with Zinchenko. I know you hate it. I'm not against it as long as it garners results for us. But Tomiyasu is that defender that can come on when you need him. And Mikel Arteta, I think, is getting better at deciding when we need Tomiyasu in the game over Zinchenko. I think I'm hardened by the fact that we went to Sevilla and picked a side with Tomiyasu starting over Zinchenko. That shows to me Mikel Arteta is growing as a manager again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he didn't take Tomiyasu off and bring on Zinchenko, did he?
No. Now the goalkeeping situation for me, I've settled in with David Raya. I'm on David Raya's side here. I think you might be countering my argument.
Well, I was watching that game and I was paying particular attention to David Raya actually, and for the 6 times or 7 times that I saw, I think 7 times that I saw him kick the ball out to do a long kick, whether from a standing position or running up and kicking the ball, out of the 7 times, he failed to reach an Arsenal player 6 times. So that's what I noticed. And then there was obviously that where he nearly sort of like punched the ball into his net. And I welcome. Don't get me wrong. I've got no agenda against David Raya. I was like, if he's an upgrade or can give competition, I'm all for that. If you remember, but in what I have seen so far, I'm not seeing a goalkeeper that's better than what we already have. That's how I'm going to put it. I'm not seeing anyone that's bringing anything more than what we already had, with someone that was bedded in, had a good relationship with all of his teammates, and now has been excluded for someone who, as I'm watching them, they're not Alisson or Edison. They're not like streets ahead of what we had. Maybe I would say that they're not even level with what we've had now. I think that he's actually a little bit, in just what I've seen, below what we had in Ramsdale. So I don't get it. And I do think that when I look at it like that, it makes me think that actually maybe we have caused a problem that didn't need to be caused. It wasn't there. We now have a problem, and it's from our own doing, or the manager's doing. Because I also noticed that in the game where Ramsdale was absent, was at Chelsea, that it's become such a thing now with the goalkeepers that when David Raya sort of like does something that could be a little bit like, they usually go to Aaron Ramsdale on the bench to catch a reaction. Well, he wasn't available, so they went to the goalkeeping coach, which tells me that the cameraman is obviously getting told in his ear or beforehand from the producer, this is what I want you to go to. This is what I need you to do. So it's an actual thing. It's a thing for Arsenal. You know, oh, we can't go to Ramsdale, so you need to go to the goalkeeper and coach.
Kenya, whatever his name is, yeah.
Inachi Kanya. So we've got a thing happening there. But I mean, if he's talking about seeing times where he wanted to sub the goalkeeper mid-game, well, how about, you know, bringing another goalkeeper in to start the next game if the one that you're using is having the horrors and not being as confident and exuding the confidence to the back line?
Yeah.
Never mind swapping them mid-game. What about changing them before the game if it's that bad? So I'm interested to see if he's going to keep to his word and use a fair judgment in his decision making.
Yeah. I agree with you in terms of the media.
David Raya, Mikel Arteta, and Kanya all chatting together in Spanish, and Aaron Ramsdale's there as well. And Aaron Ramsdale's like, I don't fucking have a clue what they're saying.
What are they saying? They're talking about me, right? They're talking about me. Yeah. No, you're dead right. They have for that Chelsea game, they had no Ramsdale to cut to in those awkward situations. So they go to the goalkeeping coach who's never been, there's never been a camera on him during the game other than sitting behind Mikel Arteta on the sideline. McChronicle said, keep playing. Ramsdale isn't better. It's not a discussion. And I think it's fair to say Stan and I are both going with the old eye test, right?
That's what I'm doing.
Looking? Yeah. I think most of us look at a player and look at his performance and look how he imparts confidence to the back line or the team in general. Now, there's stats out there. The stats are out there. And I will say a lot of the stats point to David Raya,
Are these stats now or the stats before he came?
These are stats now during his time with Arsenal.
I find that hard to believe, but there you go.
Yeah. And look, there's about 5 or 6 categories going around where, Raya is superior in the stats. Now, I will say, Stan, it doesn't look, our eye test tells us that Raya's had some difficulties. And maybe
difficult time keeping a clean sheet. That's one.
Yep.
I mean.
Yeah. And the one being, a huge slice of luck whether I don't think Mudryk means to do what he did. You know what I mean? Mudryk's trying to get across in there.
Here's the thing. For me, I don't really care whether Mikhail Mudryk meant that or not, because when you go back into the history books, it will say that he scored a goal. And sometimes, who can deny anyone having a bit of luck? If I'm walking down the street and I find 50 quid and I can go in the pub and start buying loads of drinks, that's because I'm quite lucky that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to feel any different about it,
Yeah.
I will say this, though. David Raya was in no man's land for me. And instead of moving backwards, his first thing he did is I think he took a few steps forward before he came backwards. So he then put himself into an even more dangerous position rather than trying to correct it straight away. That's what I take from it. I don't really, it doesn't bother me whether Mudryk meant it or not. I'm like, fair play to the lad. Bit of luck, right? If it was me, I'd take it. It's going to be a goal under my name. I don't know if I would have come out and done all that bollocks about, our coach told us about him, he does this and does that, so I thought I'd go for it. Maybe that's that's the bridge too far. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was me, I would have gone, maybe it's a bit of luck, but I'll take that. Thank you very much, sort of attitude. But, it is what it is.
100%. So, look, I think I have a feeling that Ramsdale will come back in at the weekend at home to Sheffield United. There's just something a little bit about vibes and the feel-good factor at Arsenal that maybe Arteta will, bring Ramsdale back into the fold with a game against his old club and, being a new father as well this week. He's ready to get back into things. We will have to keep 2 keepers active.
Is that we're stuck with David Raya. He's not going back to Brentford. We're under an obligation to buy. We're under an obligation to give him another £23 million. So whatever happens, if it doesn't work out or what have you, he's not going back to Brentford. He's staying at Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
So something has to be figured out. Something has to be made to work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We have to look at maybe the next 3 games in its entirety, Stan, and how we're going to approach the goalkeeping situation. I mean, you could go David Raya in the Premier League for Sheffield United, then switch to Ramsdale for West Ham in the Carabao Cup next week, midweek, and then Newcastle away from home. So,
Just to answer
back,
BX, it's not an option. It's definitely an obligation because I looked it up again today just to make sure that I was right. It's an obligation to buy
yeah,
the 23
because we did chat about this on Sunday.
We paid like
now
3 million already. We've got to pay like another 23 million next season. It's around
Stan did his
27
homework.
million for the whole deal.
Option became permanent once he played 3 games, the Chronicles said. So there you go. You know. But yeah, what are we gonna do in the goalkeeping situation when Ramsdale's got to play a game? The most simple one to pick would be the Carabao Cup next Wednesday.
Well, I can't Raya play in the Carabao Cup.
Well, he can. He could.
You know?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be? You know what I'm getting at? Ideally, you want to be in a situation where Ramsdale and Raya are sharing more of the other competitions, and you play someone like a Cole Hine in the Carabao Cup. Ideally, you play your third keeper, maybe give a third keeper a chance, a go. Do you know what I'm getting at?
I know where you're getting at, but I want to get to the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup as well. You know, we know City have gone out of that competition. There's a few teams that have gone out of that competition. So the other thing as well, last weekend, Man City fielded Ortega instead of Ederson in their Premier League game. So, you know, it wouldn't be unheard of for Ramsdale to start against Sheffield United on Saturday.
Maybe Pep feels like he needed a rest for that week and believes that he's got a goalkeeper that can step in and it's not a huge drop-off. And that's where we are.
That's where we are. And I think Ramsdale's going to take one of the next 2
games.
Actually,
it's not where we are because we've actually, we've got a number 1 goalkeeper in the Premier League team. We've gone out and bought another one from a start. You can't tell me now. We had this conversation and you said that you wasn't sure. Do you still believe that David Raya wasn't given the heads up before he came?
It's
speculation, I know, but I just think that he was definitely told, mate, if you come here, you would definitely be given the chance to show that you are. You know what I mean? It's not like, well, you're going to have to fight with Aaron, and Aaron's the number 1.
Let me just say,
I think he was given in I don't know how it was worded, but he was told that he would be given a big chance, an opportunity.
There had to be a comfort level of going back to a coach that you worked with before and going to this club at Arsenal, knowing you're going to work with Inaki Kenya again.
And also people were like, well, last season playing against Chelsea, he kept 2 clean sheets. But when he was playing against Chelsea last season, he was playing for Brentford, and they were probably going into those matches as the underdog. A little bit more carefree. When you're going into games like fighting for the Premiership in second place, it puts a different spin on the game, and maybe, he's not mentally quite there for that yet, and it's getting to him because he does at times, to me, look a bit like deer in headlights kind of style.
Yeah, definitely. I believe BX said, I believe Ramsdale will fight for his place and is happy to be here. I mean, he's got to go till January. I think Ramsdale will play out the season, and then there's a decision to be made in the summertime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Mechanical said Man United and Newcastle play each other in the Carabao Cup this round 2. So, big teams are going to go out. So it's getting to the quarterfinals. I know it's a smaller competition. I'll drop a backstage pass, Brownie, if you want to join us at the end of the stream. You're welcome to do so. We'll do it that way. You know what I mean? So, Stan, PSV and Lens played out a draw as well, so that
Mhm.
puts us in pole position in the group, the Champions League group. Like I said before, we're going well in the Carabao Cup, we're going well in the league. So, but you do have a sense out there that some Arsenal fans are a little bit restless that we're not playing as well as we were last season. What do you say to that? You know what I mean? Do you agree with that? Do you say, hold
Maybe
on, we're going to get
maybe
better?
the way the fixtures have come this season and last season is a little bit different because who have we already played so far? We've played Tottenham, played Man United, we've played Man City, we've played Chelsea. Have we played Newcastle yet?
No, that's coming up.
Okay, so we've
10
already
days.
played. We've already played a number of the big heads already. Whereas
Yes,
last season when we started, I think our fixture list was a little bit more generous to us.
it's kind. Yep. I
So that,
remember the first five games were relatively easy, and then I think the sixth game was Man United away, and we fell to Man United away from home, and then we went to Brentford away. Then we went into Liverpool and Tottenham in October. So yeah, we had an easier schedule last season than we have had
and
now.
plus we started the beginning of the season with all that Thomas Partey at right back bollocks and no Gabriel Megalegs
Megalash,
and plus
which
and we're integrating Declan Rice. There was a lot going on.
Havertz, yeah,
Havertz as well.
like I think when you buy big expensive parts for your team, it's going to take a little while for those to be able to find the right mechanisms to use those players. I think we're in that situation now. We know with Declan Rice what we're getting. I think we've taken some time or needed to take some time with Havertz to understand what he's all about, and maybe we're getting the benefit from him in the last couple of games. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah. Have you got anything else? I'll drop the link in if Brownie wants to drop in and say hello.
No,
After.
not really. I think I'm good.
Yep.
I just want to reiterate something that I spoke about earlier, and that's that I still believe that you're going to see players like Saka, like Martinelli, like Martin Odegaard, maybe even Saliba as well. That there will be times when they'll just lose their form. All of a sudden, they may not look themselves for a few games, and I think that is just because of inconsistency, because of age. And as I mentioned, we have a team full of youngsters, and if they go inconsistent at the same time, if a couple of them become inconsistent, then it's going to affect the whole team. But that's a pain barrier that we have to somehow have to try and grin and bear, because that's the path that we've chosen.
Yeah.
We don't have a team full of 26, 27, some 28s, 30s, 29s, and we've got some kids that we're integrating and they can be used sparingly. The backbone of our team are young with a few pieces of experience sprinkled in. It's the other way around for us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and I think
I'm glad Gary's back because I've been waiting to get a beer for ages. So.
Gary's back for the last couple minutes to get your final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here, Gary. As Stan was saying, he's glad he's seeing things moving along with the team. The squad, we're starting to integrate the squad more and more. Players like Fabio Vieira, Jorginho are getting a look in. Tomiyasu getting a look in. And you're mute again. You very.
Yeah, we just hope it continues and we get more minutes out of those players, because I think, as we said, it kind of started in the preseason. Trossard looked really good in preseason. Didn't get minutes. Eventually got a show. Didn't show up, and then it's been in and out of the lineup since. Vieira looked really good coming off the bench. Disappeared as well. I think those players need to be engaged the entire time. So Tomiyasu now is getting minutes. Looks really good. Will that continue? I think we have a good enough squad that he should be able to bring in those players a lot more than he does. Mm-hmm. They might need to get starts as well. I think Tomiyasu can start any game, so that shouldn't be a problem. at some point Vieira, and I think Trossard can start any game. I don't think he allows him to it, and when he does start him, I think he puts it in positions to not to succeed, and he fails sometimes. So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good as giving these players some minutes, but they need to be part of a ongoing plan where they continue to get minutes and get starts. All of our players that play need to be able to start matches for us. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait until we force to start them. They should already be. They should already have a lot of starts already at some point. So that
I think we're getting there. We got Tomiyasu, we got Jorginho. Emile Smith-Rowe's getting more and more.
Yeah.
Fabio Vieira may have injury somewhere here and there. We need Nelson a little bit more. We need Partey a little bit more. I think BX's comment down here is the crux of the whole thing. Last season, we were dropping 3 or 4 goals on the regular in the match. We're not scoring as much, but we're looking more solid as a unit this season.
Our defense wasn't as bad last season until you get to like the last 9 games of the season, where we kind of went a little bit crazy and kind of lost our way there. But in general, I think our defense was pretty solid, one of the tops in the league up until the last month or 2 of the season. So,
and I think some of that is intentional. We're trying to be more solid, but I think some of it more could be intentional summer signings, like a Declan Rice, like a Havertz, helping us play that way.
Well, I think Havertz playing he forced him in there, and he didn't need to do that. If you just look at the resume of the player, he doesn't deserve to get. He didn't deserve to get starting minutes immediately. There was nothing that he did last season where he deserved starting minutes, right? So I kind of felt like that was forced, and it didn't work out because he's still nothing's changed from the end of last season to the start of this one for Havertz. So, we all the other players that are coming in with good resumes. And I mean,
I hope we're slowly, Gary, I hope we're slowly unlocking the Havertz cheat code. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's an expensive Mikel Arteta and Nicolas Pepe.
It's going to be more. It's going to not. We might not get back the money. We don't. It's not going to be like Rice, where we're seeing the immediate return. So maybe it happens.
Yeah.
I think we're forcing it to some degree, and then we're going to look at the numbers and say, well, because we spent all this money, we have to put them out there and risk losing games and risk not playing our top players and stuff like that. And I think that's bad. I'd rather us play our best players for the moment and screw that money that we're spending. If the player's not ready, he's not ready. If he's not going to work, he's not going to work. I think that's the discipline you have to have. Even if you're a manager, the owners come to you and say, well, you spent 65 on this player. I'm not going to lose games for you. If an owner came to you and said, why aren't you playing this player? You put a lot of money out. Well, we got it wrong. We don't get it right every time. People say it all the time. You said it to your owner, right? I picked 4 players in this window. 3 of them hit. Right?
All right.
I didn't. That's not a bad odds.
Definitely. Gary, thanks for joining and rejoining today in between picking up your daughter. So appreciate that. Stan, thanks for being here also.
Cheers, mate.
We're heading into a part of the season where we should be able to pile on some points now, starting with Sheffield United at home. So let's go get that win. We will see you on Sunday for the Sunday show. Check out Gary on Saturday. I'm sure he's doing a show on the trip. And there is a Fool Nelson on probably Saturday night, right? If I'm not mistaken.
If Crown Jewel is on in Saudi Arabia, then we'll be watching that. I think it's this week. It's either this week or next week. I think it's this week.
All right. We'll see you then. Take care, everybody. We are out of here. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Stan. Hope you're enjoying the show with your Weetabix. That's a nod to Gunnar Glenn. Take care, everybody.